Hey guys, on today's episode, we're working on my wife's 2018 Subaru Outback. Now, we've driven this thing all winter and it's completely filthy, and with warmer weather on the way, it's now time to do a spring cleanup. Plus, we're gonna have a free downloadable PDF with the step-by-step process I'm about to do today that you can do in your own driveway in about an hour or two. So, we got a lot to do. Let's get started today on this episode of Drive and Protect. Here are some tools you'll need to start. 2 buckets, one for the wheels and one for the paint. 5 to 10 microfiber towels, 2 or 3 window towels, a scrubber, and a squeegee. Various wheel brushes and wheel woolies. Vacuum, interior brushes, and an aerator. Products for the interior, exterior, engine, wheels, glass, and protection. And for weekend warriors, a power washer, foam cannons, quick jack or something similar, power tools, air diffusers, air compressors, steam machines, steam vacs. We can go to town. These are all nice to have, but they're not deal breakers if you don't, so don't worry about it. Step 1 is to focus on the interior first by removing any garbage, then the rubber mats, and then the floor mats. One of the reasons I like to work the interior first is to avoid working in water during the interior cleaning phase. The bottom of the mats get wet if they're left on the ground after the wash. The vacuum hose gets wet and then dirty, and then you sort of drag it along on the inside, and sometimes it marks up the seats. And then of course your shoes are really wet, and then you bring them into the carpets. All just kind of a big pain in the butt that you can avoid easily. With all 4 doors and trunk open, start on the driver's side and work your way around in a 5-box pattern. 1 being the driver, 2 being the driver's side rear seat area, 3 being the trunk, 4 is the passenger side rear seat, and 5 is the passenger seat area. First, I used compressed air, or if you don't have air, you can use a master blaster as well to blow out everything from under the seats and in the spaces between the center console and the seat bolster, the cup holders, the center console seat cracks, or anything that can be easily blown out of the car or just vacuumed up later. Now, I've had a Master Blaster for like 5 years or something. I've had it forever. It's super durable, high powered. It shoots out warm, dry filtered air at I think 500 or maybe 540 miles an hour, which is insane. But at the same time, it's much safer than using compressed air with a trigger. You have a chance of blowing the badge off or blowing buttons out of the interior. This one has a different fan, a different pattern, so it blows a lot more volume of air, but it's not in the sniper form where you can do some damage. So that's what makes this really cool for weekend warriors for sure. And mine in particular, this one has 2 twin 4-peak horsepower for a total of 8, so just way overpowered, way more than you need, but that's always a good thing. I'll put a link in the description to the manufacturer's website. Super cool stuff. If you happen to have headliner issues, now is the time to address it with AMMONYC and gentle agitation. Most of the time, headliners aren't very dirty, so don't touch it. But if they are in fact dirty, avoid using heavy degreasers because it can dissolve the adhesive glue holding up the sound deadening on your roof, causing it to sag over time. Okay, so we're in our cadaver car right now. We're gonna cut the headliner just to check out what goes on inside. Okay. So right off the bat, you can see there's a cushion inside here that keeps the sound deadening. So like rain happens and something hits the top of the roof, you're not hearing it. But what's interesting is this is the headliner. The headliner is glued right there with that yellow stuff. That's what's touching the cushioning right here, which is on top. So all of this is cushioning right here. And that yellow, that's where the fabric is touching the cushioning. So if you over soak this with degreaser, it's gonna get in there and dissolve the glue, and that's why headliners sag. Next, use lather interior cleaner and an interior brush on the center console, the dash, the steering wheel, and seats if they're leather, then do the doors. If this is a seasonal cleanup and not a total disaster, you may not need to use steam, but because I have a child, I'm using steam to kill any germs that could be living on the door handles and everywhere else. If you don't have a steamer, be sure to use a scrub pad if necessary in high traffic areas, but always use caution to avoid removing the dyed color of the interior in the process. Afterwards, I follow up with a vacuum first because one, I don't plan to put my feet back on the carpets again. Plus, it's right before the steam vacuum phase, which can get clogged with oversized rocks or junk that's on the floor. So I like to vacuum now before I use that steam vac. On a side note, this is also a good time to replace your cabin filter as well, just in case some of the leaves and junk from the cabin filter as you're pulling it out, sometimes they spill on the rug. So you're in the vacuuming phase, it's not a big deal. So do it right now. Since we have full cloth seats, I put AMMONYC in the aerator about 50-50 with water, then spray the foam for more even coverage. On the heavier stains, I'll use AMMONYC undiluted directly from the RTU bottle. Let the cleaner sit for about a minute or two, then gently scrub the fibers. You, as the detailer, have to decide how much force and aggression is reasonable based on the condition of the fabric and the level of dirt present. For my wife's car, I'm using the red bristle brush to tamp shag into the fibers, then use a dual density interior scrubber or maybe a scrub pad to work the product in. I could use a drill brush, but because the fibers are so delicate and soft on this particular car, I think I might be causing more damage than good, but use your judgment. With the dirt now lifted to the surface, I'm using the AMMO Steam Vac to remove it from the fibers without using a ton of water in the process because this needs to be driven back home today. The steam allows it to dry much faster. However, if your car requires super hot water because of the level of dirt and the stains, etc., then use the hot water shampoo machine because it might be a better way to go. Again, use your judgment, but if you don't have any of these fancy tools, that's fine too. A bucket of warm water mixed with some shag or laundry detergent and a soft bristle brush, it's gonna work totally fine. You just need lots of towels to blot and air dry the material before you sit down because you're gonna get a wet butt in that particular case, so keep that in mind. After dumping the disgusting reservoir water, then spray the door jambs with Titan 12 degreaser, close the doors, and we'll deal with it later. Next, fill your buckets with Brute wheel soap and various wheel woolies of different lengths and sizes, the 2-tier wheel brushes, and a blue towel. The other bucket is designated as a paint bucket and will have 5 or 6 microfiber wash towels in it, mixed with 3 or 4 squirts of Ammo foam and 3 or 4 squirts of Boost anti-salt. With your wheel buckets and tools ready, open the engine and rinse the area with a hose, a power washer, or the aerator in frothy if you don't have access to water if you live in an apartment or drought area and so on. If you have an older engine or are just sort of leery about using water in general on your engine, stick to the frothy and aerator trick to avoid using excessive water. Next, I coat the engine in Titan 12 degreaser and scrub with my various wheel brushes and then rinse again. Nowadays, most modern engines are pretty robust and can take a bit of water without any problems, but just stay away from the alternator, the battery, the fuse box, etc. Dry with compressed air or a master blaster and a towel. After the drying phase, I always check my air filter and replace if needed. As you guys know, I love my German machines. I mean, look at this thing, the lines, the look, the feel. It's just an amazing car to drive on a daily basis. It's part of my routine. So when I come in here in the morning, I go upstairs, I work out, I do a little bit of puck control as well. Afterwards, I take a shower. Then after the shower, I come out and I shave. That is like closes my morning, sets the rest of the day for me. It's really important. And to do that, I do it with Harry's. I've been using Harry's for 3 years because in my experience, they have the sharpest and the longest lasting blades with that trimmer thing to keep my sideburns perfectly straight, which is a big deal for me. And they also send refills on a regular schedule. So it's like one less thing that I got to think about. And when I go to the grocery store, for whatever reason, I always seem to forget it. So this is super helpful. Most of all, the 8th shave is exactly the same as the first shave. So my skin isn't on fire because I have this dull blade just like ripping my skin off. And I use their shaving cream. It has aloe and all this good ingredients in it. Plus it smells really great too. Visit harrys.com/ammo to buy your starter set for just $5. Comes with a 5-blade cartridge, a weighted handle, I got mine in Ember, shaving cream with aloe, and a travel blade cover. And all of this for just $5. Plus, 1% of global sales goes to nonprofit organizations, 50% of the handle is actually made from recycled material, and you get a 100% money-back guarantee. If you don't like it, what do you got to lose? Except some whiskers. With the engine now clean, the next step is to do a pre-wash on super dirty cars or post-winter cleanings. To do this, I spray a light layer of Titan 12 degreaser on the lower portions of the paint, the front bumper, behind the wheels, etc., then let it dwell for a few minutes out of direct sunlight while I work on the wheels. Now, I'm going to be using the lift because I'm in the Ammo studio, but you can use the quick jack system or simply just do one wheel at a time. But for spring cleanups, I do think it's pretty important to remove the wheels so you can get access to the suspension. You can also inspect the brake lines and the pad depth and then even the tread wear. So it's worth it now. Maybe not on every single wash, of course, but before and after winter is ideal to just pop the wheels off if you can. With the wheels off, spray your foamer with foam and boost anti-salt everywhere and let it soak for 2 minutes while you clean the wheels themselves. This is also a great opportunity to use your hose, maybe an aerator or the power washer, doesn't matter which, to flush out the undercarriage as much as possible. You're going to remove all the sand and salt. Likewise, don't forget to scrub your rubber floor mats as well. A trick I used on a previous episode was to tape your garden hose to a wooden broomstick pole and slide it underneath your car, especially if you're not taking your wheels off. It's going to really help kind of get under there without flopping around. Either way, don't stress too much about it. Just get underneath there the best you can and call it a day. To clean the wheels thoroughly, I'm using Ammo Plum Wheel Cleaner combined with Brute Soap in a bucket to lift and remove the loads of brake dust and road salt off the wheels. Be sure to scrub the rubber with a stiff bristle brush and plum to remove the dried up and old dressing that's been sitting there over the winter months. Before starting the paint cleaning process, use your wheel tools to scrub the door jambs really well to remove the salt on both the frame of the car and underneath the door frame. Leave it sudsy for now, it doesn't really matter, we're going to rinse it off later on. When it comes to cleaning the paint, I no longer use a wash mitt with 2 buckets anymore. Now, instead, I use a few clean microfiber wash towels in 1 bucket, then I pull it out and fold it into 4s, use the clean side until it's filled with dirt, flip it, and then repeat until the entire towel is dirty. Then I either toss it in a sink or a spare bucket to be cleaned later. All you do next is pull out a fresh towel and continue cleaning. Now, this completely eliminates the worry of cross-contamination and potentially scratching your paint altogether. In the tight spots like emblems and window frames, you can use a soft bristle brush to kind of coax everything out while you're in the wash process. Okay, at this point when you're in the middle of your wash, just take your hand, rub it across, and see if you feel anything rough. That would be contamination sitting on top of the clear coat. As you can hear, there's really nothing on here. These cars, this car in particular is stored inside, so there's not a lot of opportunity for trees and sap and junk to go on it. But at this point, you would clay the car during the wash phase because you have so much lubrication in the clay bar. I'm not going to do that here because it could potentially put some marring in there that would require me to polish later on, and I don't want to do that because it doesn't need it. Just a quick FYI, all the tools and products I'm using can be found at AMMONYC.com. As always, thank you for supporting a small, independent, authentic business. It does mean a lot, so thank you. After a healthy final rinse on both the paint and the jambs, it's time to reapply protection to the paint with Reflex Pro Top Coat. This can be applied to a vehicle when it's wet with or without a pre-existing coating on the car, which is pretty cool. Now, my wife's car already has Reflex Pro on it for very obvious reasons, so this is a quick way to just maintain what you already have on there. First, spray a few mists on the wet paint, including the door jambs, the trunk, the gas door, and even the hood jambs. That's very, very important. You're going to take advantage of the fact that you're spraying it and can get into these tight areas. That's what makes this really helpful. Allow top coat about 2 minutes of dwell time, then lightly rinse it again to spread the coating around the paint and into the seams that you normally couldn't get your products in, like coatings or paint sealants in tight little areas. That's where this is helpful. Next, dry the paint as you normally would with Hydrate or with Hydrate Pro. Now, because I have Reflex Pro on the car, I'm going to be using Hydrate Pro to dry and moisturize the paint, which is going to leave behind another thin layer of coating. Squeeze the thick or the high viscosity lubricant onto a damp microfiber towel and dry it exactly the same as you would with regular Hydrate. Wring it out as it becomes full, re-squeeze it onto the towel, repeat the process all the way around the car. Super easy, and it makes a huge difference when you're done. For the tight spots, use compressed air or a master blaster to blow out the trapped water, but make sure that the rain gutters are clear to avoid clogs and water backing up into the car over time. Make sure you take a second to inspect the roof rails, around the windshields, and the gas door where there's usually a drainage hole and sometimes it just gets plugged. A lot of times the gaskets will go bad, so you want to keep an eye on this over time. Those will leak and will just pour into the car. I've seen it 1,000 times. Likewise, during the inspection phase, I like to use Ammo Spit spray wax just to clean up the little trailers that even though you hit with compressed air, somehow water is still coming out enough to drive you insane. So just use that as you walk around the car and double check your work. Before putting the wheels back on the car, I'm quickly reinstalling another layer of Gillette Pro wheel coating because they're off the car and it's just super convenient to do it now to reach the inner barrels, then to reach my hand all the way through. You can do the calipers as well if it's applicable. If you're not into coatings, that's cool too. Use Ammo Skin sealant on the wheels instead. I also like to add a quick layer of mud dressing to the black plastic on the inside of the wheel wells, not only because it looks good and it's super black, it's great, but also give you some hydrophobic protection for the next few weeks, and it takes 20 seconds to do, so it's not a big deal. However, if you are a super fanatic or you have a show car, etc., you can apply Frame Pro coating on the inside as well. Just keep that in mind. It will stay black for much longer. With the clean wheels now on, by the way, don't forget to torque them down, I'm applying skin sealant to the paint as a sacrificial layer on top of my Reflex Pro coating I applied before winter. Before I put skin on, to me, the paint looked really good, so I don't need to reapply yet another layer of coating right now until maybe the end of the summer, just for fun because I want it to look good. So skin is just super easy and a quick way to protect the paint instead of putting a full coating on. You can apply it by hand or machine, let it cure, and then remove it with 2 microfiber towels. Ridiculously easy to do. Normally, most soft textured black trim like this is going to be really dried out over time. I actually forgot 8 months ago when I got my first Frame Pro in. I put it on here because I was super excited. So I was going to put it on again today for spring, but I'm actually not going to do it because it's held up so well that if I put this back on right now, it's not going to stick because nothing sticks to it. It looks fantastic. So if you haven't done it yet, put some Frame Pro on here today. We're going to skip it. Finally, I clean the glass with Obey. I scrub pad it first, then microfiber towel wipe just to pick up the lifted junk because I don't want to get my nice towels all dirty. Then I lightly mist Obey one more time for lubrication and squeegee everything clean. For the final wipe on the glass, I'm now using a waffle weave tight knit microfiber towel for a streak-free finish. Next, reinstall the dry mats and the rubber floor protector, but don't put any dressing on it. Even if you think buffing it off is going to make it okay, it's still not a good idea because the moisture from the bottom of your shoes will reactivate the oils, much the same as light mist of rain on blacktop sort of pulls the oils out and makes it really slippery when you're driving. It's the same concept with the bottom of your shoe and your gas pedal. Just avoid it altogether. Lastly, I applied mud tire dressing to the thirsty rubber sidewalls for some UV protection, but you can also add some mud dressing to the engine if you prefer. Just make sure you buff it off later on so it doesn't collect dust in the future. When I was done, the before and after on our daily driver was huge. Well guys, there you have it. The before and after is absolutely massive. The car is clean. It has no salt on it. Most importantly, I think my wife is gonna be thrilled. Now, in truth, I did this in about 6 hours because I went crazy. I was having a good time. I used crazy machines, all that kind of thing. You can probably do it in an hour or two. Just pick and choose which of the methods work best for you and based on the condition of the car. Don't forget, we have a free downloadable PDF with a step-by-step process. I'll put a link down below. Most importantly, I hope you had fun. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Big thank you to Harry's for sponsoring this episode. Now, if you're really into cleaning cars and you want to learn the skills to polish your paint yourself, click the link here for a playlist with everything you're going to need to know for correcting your own paint. As always, guys, thanks again for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.